it's kind of like karma, you can't just make videos about people constantly just harassing them and harassing for no reason, accusing them of crimes, ruining their career on the guise of just, you're doing your investigations and just exposing the truth when the truth is really in the eye of the beholder. Welcome to episode of Potionswordrun. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Billy Jobst and Billy Jobst. Billy Mitchell and Karl Jobst intertwined together forever. Billy Mitchell has come out on Twitter and said that he believes that if the completionist Jirard sues Karl Jobst for defamation, that he will win and Karl will lose. Pretty much saying that he accused the completionist of a crime he did not commit. Pretty much the same way that he defamed Billy in court, saying that because of him, a polo legend, Now, I don't agree that he said that in that sentence, but whatever. I'm not a judge. Everybody has an interpretation, and the judge said that he did. Given that Karl Jobst did accuse the completionist of a crime and his father and his family of pretty much charity fraud straight out, I think he has a case here. But let's check out what Billy said. Billy Mitchell. If the completionist sues Karl Jobst for defamation, he will win. Old school. Why do you think that? Charity fraud is a crime with specific elements that constitute it. The completionist objectively did not do that. That's defamation. And it's true. He accused him of committing charity fraud. Unlike Mudahar, Karl Jobst did accuse him. He didn't just, use words, that implicated him, but didn't really, accuse him of a crime. Words matter in cases like this. And you can't go around accusing people of doing crimes they did not commit because it defames their character. Could you lose money? Could lose careers, jobs, The list goes on. The completionist hasn't recovered from this. So obviously he's still a little ticked off. And when he did his response video, he actually said he was going to look into legal action. I don't know if he did. And I think the reason why he didn't was because at that time, Jirard was looked upon as the bad guy. Looked upon as the guy who held on to all that charity money. So the brouhaha, around the internet was saying that, Karl and Mudahar were in the right to expose him. So if he were to go around and just sue him, it would kind of look like he's doing it because he got exposed, not because, he was accused of committing a crime he did not commit. But now, today, that Karl Jobst doesn't have the same sway that he did before. Now that people are going at him, where the sharks are swimming and people are just making videos and videos and videos about him regurgitating the same shit over, but it doesn't matter because it's just entertaining. Like my good friend Gen X Gamer out there, watch his content if you want the nitty gritty. He's into the nitty gritty of all of this shit. It's the good time for the Jirard, the completionist, to strike. And if Billy thinks that he has a case, especially because Billy went through the same scenario that the completionist went through, I think he just might win. And I wouldn't be surprised if the completionist actually did this and does sue Karl Jobst. After all, right now, Karl Jobst is at his weakest. He owes Billy Mitchell a lot of money. It doesn't look like he's trying to settle with him either, trying to come to an agreement or anything. He looks like he's trying to fight. So, and if he does, he's going to lose, over like $500,000, So, how is he going to defend himself against the completionist at that point? So, it's a time to strike. I mean, you think that the community's going to give him more money again? Unless Notch out there is going to pay again for another legal fee, throw away his money. I don't think he is. I don't see Karl Jobst coming out. And no good outcome for him, no matter what. Gen X Gamer is right. He needs to talk to Billy Mitchell. He needs to settle. He needs to humble himself and just know that even though he don't agree with it, he was defeated in the court of law. And not only that, but in the eyes of the people. Now, I don't find joy in other people's misery. And I know Karl Jobst is stressed or, embarrassed and, all the above, being sued in the public this way. But it's kind of like karma, You can't just make videos about people constantly just harassing them and harassing for no reason, accusing them of crimes, ruining their career on the guise of just, you're doing your investigations and just exposing the truth when the truth is really in the eye of the beholder. Like I said, I don't take, any joy in all this stuff, but it is interesting, because Billy Mitchell's an interesting guy. Like him or not, he really is. And if you had the choice to have a beer with Billy Mitchell or Karl Jobst, hang out with them for the night, like who are you gonna hang out with? Karl Jobst, the dating guru, or like Billy Mitchell? With Billy Mitchell will be out there snorting Ricky's hot sauce, breaking damn Donkey Kong cabinets. We'll be arcading all night, blitzed out of our minds, surrounded by hookers. If I was Karl Jobst right now, I don't know, I'd be scared. I'd be a little bit scared. I'd be humble in my defeat. I would look for pity, when it comes to Billy Mitchell. Just, admit it, you lost, mercy at the beholden of Billy Mitchell. Just ask for mercy, from Billy Mitchell, and hope that the completionist doesn't come after him as well. But I think that he will. I think that he sees that this is a time to strike. And I think, giving that little motivation from Billy Mitchell is going to go a long way to convince him. And given that the completionist, Jirard, and his family are wealthy beyond YouTube, I'm sure they're not going to have trouble hiring some of the best lawyers they can as compared to what Karl Jobst can afford, especially at the moment. Especially what he afforded last time. Wasted his money pretty much on lawyers that didn't know what they were arguing. But I'm going to leave it right there. Billy Mitchell just keeps on roasting him, and I'm going to keep on covering that because he's an interesting guy. I started to like Billy Mitchell a little. But if you want more of the dailies, I really suggest you follow Gen X Gamer. He's really following this like to the T. I'm going to leave it right there. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Remember, always be kind to yourself and enjoy your life. And I'll meet you right there. Peace.